You don't want to do this with weight, especially when you're starting out. You take a rope, hold it over your head, and keep your arms real wide. You just squat down slowly and watch what moves. So one of the first things that people tend to see is they'll see that their shoulders will come forward, and that indicates usually they have tight lats. So if you have tight lats, the way you can stretch that is to put your shoulder into flexion and lean down. Okay? Or you can strengthen the opposing muscle and strengthen the deltoids. Either way, you should improve the range of motion of your lats, which can help improve posture, limit tightness, and neck pain and things. The other thing when you do an overhead squat, so that's with your arms going forward. The other thing you might notice is that your trunk will flex forward. Okay? If your trunk flexes forward, usually that indicates that you have either a weak back or tight hip flexors. If you have a job where you sit a lot, it's very common to have tight hip flexors. Because when you're in that seated position, the hip flexors are shortened, and they actually assume a new length. And they pull your pelvis down. You can also see that you probably have a sway in your back, too. So a good exercise to combat that would be a lunge. Because with a lunge, you're going to stretch that hip flexor, and that would be one. Another one would be exercises for your erector spine. Strengthen your erector spine. And that way, when you do the squat, you'll notice that when you come down, you'll be more of an upright position. Okay, so there's two things to look for with overhead squat. A third thing, and this is probably the most important for runners to look out for, is when they come down, if you notice even just one leg start to come in a little bit. Does anyone know what that's a sign of? That you have the internal rotation of the femur? That's tight IT band. IT band syndrome is real common in runners because it's a band that goes all the way down the side here and it leads to lateral knee pain and sometimes hip pain. And people say you need to stretch your IT band. Well, it's kind of ridiculous. Like if you work in if you ever look at a cadaver and you look at an IT band, it's like steel. It's like rebar. You're not stretching it. That thing can suspend a car from a bridge. You know? So what you need to do is strengthen the muscles, the glutes especially, if you have a tight IT band, which will improve range of motion for them. So exercises like this to strengthen the muscles we call abductors will help combat the potential injury if someone has a tight IT band. So there are three things. I'll show you one more. The last thing you might find when you go down is that your heels will come up. If you do a squat and you have trouble keeping your heels on the ground, they come up. Usually means you have tight calves, and runners often have tight calves. A good way to stretch the calves, there's a number of ways, but obviously just planting that heel, kind of forcing the foot into dorsiflexion, or even doing heel walking, as part of your warm-up. Kevin probably does that with you guys before you start. So from just doing one simple overhead squat, looking in the mirror and looking at what joint moves, you can tell where tightness exists and how to, some ways that you can try to correct it. All right, any questions about the assessment?